my gosh, you guys, Puget Systems just sent me a custom PC. A PC so custom. It has my logo on it and it's equipped with an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3090 card. I don't even think those are in stock. And because I've been gone and MIA for 10 weeks hosting NAB Show live with Nikki Sun, I decided today is going to be the day to do a special feature on Puget Systems. That's right, we're flying to their headquarters, interviewing President and founder of Puget Systems, Jon Bach, and I'm going to take you behind the scenes with me to see how a custom PC is built. So let's go. Hello, welcome to TechNicki speaking. I'm Nikki Sun, and today I have the honor and privilege of sitting down with the President and CEO of Puget Systems, Jon Bach. How are you?
It's good to have you here. It's good to have anyone here to open things back up again, but we're glad you can come out.
We have to talk about this name thing though. So wait, Puget Systems, right?
Right.
I thought it was Puget Sound, and I was like, wait, I've been doing it wrong. But then I found out that it kind of was in the name before.
Yeah.
So can you take me through like the evolution and transitions of the name?
The corporation name still always was and still is Puget Sound Systems. And it is actually Puget Sound Systems Incorporated. And that's the company name I started off with. And got a few phone calls and requests for like, what kind of stereo systems do you sell? The Puget Sound Systems. So we just dropped sound from it. But we were Puget Custom Computers for a while. And that was in the years where like we were going down this whole like, well, what does the search engines want? And so we did Puget Custom Computers. But we recentered back on Puget Systems now.
Okay.
But still, all of our corporate forms were still Puget Sound Systems. So
Yeah.
don't come to me for stereos though.
I'm here because Puget Systems just sent me my first PC. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And it is a beast of a machine. It's custom lasered. I think you even hooked me up with the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3090 Founders Edition.
Yes.
And I think that's sold out everywhere. And you just celebrated 20 years of Puget Systems. So congratulations, first of all.
Yeah, thank you.
But I kind of want to start from the beginning. Why was building custom PCs so important for you to make it a whole company and your mission today for the past 20 years?
It really is the same mission today as it was 20 years ago, which was to figure out what people need and then help them get to the right solution. We have our goal to be that knowledge source so that all the end users don't have to figure all that stuff out all the time. Because it's a big deal on PC. Like you said, this is your first time on PC, right?
It's my first time.
And so like you can do anything you want, but you have to figure out what you want to do. And so what Apple is really good at is having this like really closed down ecosystem so that you don't have to have this like decision paralysis. And we want to bring that same type of experience to the PC side because you can do 1,000 different things, but there's actually only a couple things that are really good for your particular workflow. So that's our job.
That's amazing. But that's for the company. I want to start like even before you.
I remember growing up, we had one of the like rotary type phones up on the wall, and I remember taking it apart one day, and then like I had to put it back together so like we could get phone calls again, and like partially getting in trouble for that. But they also like wanted to encourage the tinkering piece of me. But I think once that spark was created. Then, as happens with a lot of tech people, is like you become the tech person that anyone asks questions about it, and so it just like accelerates, right? You become that person, then you grow knowledge, and that makes you love it even more. And so the real big opportunity that I'm so thankful that I got was I worked at my uncle's printing company, and I was just like filing things and collating papers like for 8 hours a day, just collating papers. But then you're the tech kid, right? So they start asking you questions. And this is around the time when the printing industry went from analog to digital, and they didn't know, and so they just were turning to anyone to help figure out that transition. And so I was in the right place at the right time, and thankful of my uncle for giving me that opportunity that I don't know that I would have had in any other context. But we outfitted the whole computer with a bunch of computers, and we networked things. We built a website, and it fell on me to figure out a lot of that stuff out. And I had no idea what I was doing, but I had to figure it out. And that gave me the knowledge and like fueled that spark and that enjoyment. So then when it was time to be in college and have to pay my way through college, I used those skills, started building computers, and that's how this whole thing got started.
When was that year that you felt like was a turning point in your company to be like, wow, we're here to stay?
Oh man, that's an interesting question. Well, I mean, there was definitely a turning point where like I could make rent. That was an important month for me.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny actually. So I operated out of my parents' basement, and I sold one computer, and I'm like, this is a business. I'm out of here. I moved out. Like I'm independent.
I've made it, Mom and Dad.
And that's why it was so critical that I could make rent.
Yeah.
But no, I think it really felt real when we moved out of various houses, and we were like working out of the living room and the garage, and then we got our first like professional facility, and that's when like the expenses really started adding up. But then we had enough business to support that, and that's when it was okay. This isn't just like me making a little bit of money, side money off a hobby. Like, okay, no, this is a business.
So how does it become scalable, or is that even a goal to be scalable?
Well, that's rough. That's tough to answer because a lot of what makes us successful is that we have these really like close one-on-one relationships with a lot of our clients, because we have to get to know them really well in order to make them to the right solutions and guide them through everything. And so we've kind of worn as a badge of honor for a number of years, like we do things that don't scale, that like Dell or HP or Lenovo, like they couldn't do because they're just in mass. It's all just about margins and selling in volume. And so as we continue to grow, like we're really successful in providing that experience and having those relationships. So then more people want to be involved, and we want to say yes to more people, and then it just kind of gets more and more challenging over time. But it's good for us. It's meant that we have to find ways to be more and more efficient and more effective and communicate better. And what's really exciting as we grow is we have more resources and time that we can prepare and package the experience just the way that we would like to do it. And then we can get it out to people, and it isn't like we're reinventing the wheel every time. So we want to have that effectiveness, but like it's all around the goal of maintaining that one-on-one relationship. Like we have to protect our time to like talk to people.
Yeah. That's something I wanted to highlight actually, that I feel like you all do so well. It was kind of like a personalized experience of like ordering a coffee at Phil's Coffee. Shout out to my Bay Area folks. I don't drink coffee, but just the whole custom experience makes me want to go back. I was so impressed from the day that I talked to Jared about like what I needed. I do 4K video editing. This is what I need. And he was like, here are some things.
Yeah.
And it was so custom. And upon getting it, I mean, beyond having it custom laser etched, which was a really nice touch, having a binder personalized with my name on it, opening it, seeing all the faces of who put my computer together, even the pictures of the parts, the transparency of what it is. You all do that so well, but where did that come from?
Yeah, well, it started out of necessity, and this is where I really appreciated that shift we made about a decade ago into more professional workflows. Having to put so much work into it forced us to be intentional and to think about that customer experience. So that's where it all kind of started. But then going back to like wearing as a badge of honor, we do things that don't scale. It's always been important to me that like even the facility that we'll show you doesn't become this like who knows where it is, doesn't even matter where it is. It's like this faceless internet factory that's churning out computers. No, we're people building computers, and we're connecting with other people that are using the computers. And so our whole experience is aligned around that. So if you buy a computer from us and you saw this, you get like, it almost looks like a Twitter feed, right? Of here's all the status updates, and the person's name is next to it, and you can click it and you can see what their pets' names are and that type of thing. So yeah, because to us, it's all about the relationships that we build along the way. And so the whole process is engineered that way.
Yeah, I mean, I even sent, when Jared first sent over the specs for the quote, I sent that over to a lot of folks that are cover PCs, and they're like, these are nice. They're like, how'd you get your hands on a 3090? And again, it's like, I think it's relationships. You have relationships with these manufacturers who will give you parts because of relationship. Can you talk about some of the strongest relationships you built and maybe how you've done it?
I think there's a lot of guiding principles that can help with that. And first and foremost, it's just like finding a need that you can address, that you're like passionate about addressing, and then just do it. And don't chase like, I guess eventually you need to think about it, but don't like be motivated by where can I make the most money, or how can I optimize my margin in a certain scenario. I'm a pretty strong believer in like if you're helping people, the success will follow. And we do that with a bunch of things. Heck, we were talking about our website design earlier, and you can get all wrapped around like, okay, what does the algorithm want, whether on YouTube or search engine optimization. But if you just align yourself back to what do my users want and how can I best provide that, well, then everything else will kind of fall into line. And so that's how we've gotten there. And I apply that philosophy to customers, to our team here and to our vendors. And so it's just be the kind of partner that is helping them, and the relationships will build over time. So again, it took me a long time, it took me 20 years, and I'm still building it. But one of the reasons why we can get to a 3090 is we've built that strong relationship with NVIDIA. And we do the same relationship building with AMD and Intel and Samsung and all these other manufacturers. And we do that by helping them, by saying, okay, we know that you're trying to service all these different types of customers. We happen to know quite a bit about content creators and engineers and scientists, so let us help you design your products and your launches and your marketing and whatnot to help those users. And in return, we gain our reputation with those companies, and that's how we can end up with good supply, even when supply just stinks overall, is because of the value of the relationship.
Now, how many PCs do you feel like you're custom building on a monthly or daily basis?
We're doing quite a few. I think at this point, man, I don't even know. 500 or 600 a month, maybe even a little bit more than that. More than I can build. Because, go back to the very beginning, it was like 1 month to sell one, and then another month to sell two. But yeah, it's grown quite a bit for us in the last year. We did not expect, I made a kind of a misstep going into pandemic, that I thought, oh, you know what, everyone's going to just hunker down for a couple months and everything is going to get really quiet. So let's, ramp things down, like hibernate a little bit, just wait out this whole COVID thing. And then turns out everyone wants technology now, right?
Everybody needs technology in order to have Zoom calls, gaming,
Totally.
Like everybody's at home now.
And like virtual production's a big thing, and it just takes so much more compute. And so as a result, what we thought was going to turn into a little bit of a downturn for us was like we've exploded in the last year.
Well, now that you're obviously the owner and president, when's the last time you built a PC? And do you want to go back into that?
I kind of am not very good at it anymore, but because what happens is I put it together and then people silently come behind me, like, I'm going to fix that wiring that he did, kind of weird. Yeah. But we recently separated out kind of the more difficult parts of the job from the simple parts of the job in terms of putting together a computer. And I went out there a couple evenings and put things together. It's a lot of fun. It's actually really satisfying to your job is to put together a computer, and there's an end point, there's a finish line, you have something you can look at when you're done.
There's a tangible.
Whereas building a business, that role doesn't really have a finish line. So it's satisfying to work with your hands and do that.
Well, I'm so excited to see the process of how you custom build your PCs. I think it's just going to be fun. So I guess we'll go to the warehouse.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I am nerding out right now.
We'll just kind of follow your computer through the process. Yes. But everything comes in the loading dock and gets received all into the inventory area. And that's definitely one of the most challenging parts of the business these days, is getting things to arrive on time and not get lost. And the logistics of getting things from overseas is just getting so expensive and time consuming, and it's just a mess. Yeah. So we spend a lot of time and energy on managing that.
Gotcha. I can't imagine this being in your garage of your home when you first started 20 years ago. Yeah,
no, it takes a little bit more space. Once we successfully get inventory here, it then goes into the assembly process, and we call this phase 1 assembly. Okay. This is where we do kind of the first parts of assembly. This is where I put together some computers.
Nice.
Assembly tends to be the stuff that just Legos together pretty easily, and then there's the wiring steps. So that takes a whole lot more experience and skill. So don't let me do that part. But that's how we break it up. So after the P1 assembly, everything else is basically P2 assembly. Okay. We do break up, whether it's a single build, one computer for one customer, or if it's this one customer is buying 50 computers, it tends to go through a slightly different process for us. You can see a lot of the people that are working over here, it's one bench, one computer, versus over here, it's one person surrounded by benches. And so that's where we do the more assembly line style.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. After assembly, then over here this is a kind of exciting area. Yeah, lots of moniters. So this is where the operating system is installed.
Look how many monitors you got hooked up to.
Well, because they can do 32 computers at a time over here. You can see on some of these monitors, these computers are all doing benchmarking right now. And so I don't know if I recognize the program. Is that Premiere? Yeah. So these are all running Premiere testing. Wow. And we'll put so all the computers that go through our line, we'll get at least a cursory test on all the different softwares. We do that first of all because we have to make sure it works right, but also we get those benchmark scores. So we're building up. I think last I looked was we had like 1.2 million benchmark scores for all of these different hardware platforms.
Wow.
And that is what that's like the data behind our recommendations. We run all these different tests and then we store it all forever and we make it accessible to even the public. And so if you go to pugetsystems.com/benchmarks, you can see this result. But over here in this whole area is where we will take in acrylic. We take it in by the pallet.
Okay.
And have you opened up your PC to look on the inside? Oh,
I have not.
Okay.
I was like trying to respect it, you know, but now that I see the process, I feel a little bit more confident.
Well, I'll show you what you would see looking inside. But what we do is we use this bracing because we're putting, like 3090 is a big card, right? It's a big, heavy 10-pound card. And it's the same deal with a lot of the heat sinks that we use. And so we use this acrylic, we cut it in-house on the laser to make bracing, to make it safe for shipment. Somewhere along the way we'll find one that has bracing. Actually, QC would be a great place. I'll take you into QC.
Okay.
So this is the room where, after it's all built, we do testing on every single computer. We test every port. We have a lot of checks that we've built out an exhaustive list over the years of like what's important to check, and that's what we do in here.
I imagine just like how doctors would be like doing surgery. Like this is where it would be.
Well, and then after quality control, then is when it goes into shipping. And we do a whole bunch of things here, actually. We'll take a lot of screenshots of the computer configuration so that we have a reference point to turn back to later.
Right.
We actually have a photo booth, and we'll take pictures of the computer. So yeah, it's actually your computer. It's every single one. And one of the reasons why we do that is, let's say 2 years from now, you want to add another hard drive because you ran out of space. Well, we can bring up those pictures and we can say like, plug it in here, run a cable this way, plug it into this port. We can give you really personalized service that way.
How long has it gotten to get to this point where this is like the assembly line for now?
Well, I mean, we change it every 6 months, it feels like. I mean, this is generally the process we've used for even the last decade or so.
Okay.
Splitting out the different assembly is definitely the most challenging process to manage as we've grown because it's a thing that doesn't scale very well. And so that's what we've changed. Even in the last year, we split out the different assembly phases. So that's the newest change for us.
Who's this one? Hi. Aww.
That's Odin.
Odin.
Odin. Oh.
If I open up one of these, would I find bracing?
Yes, anyone, except for the mini.
I'm just trying to finish telling a story about it.
Oh, those are little ones.
Oh yeah, perfect. Okay, so this is really close to yours. This is what makes it so this video card, that's not going anywhere.
Wow.
This isn't going anywhere. It makes that safer, because otherwise what we'd have to do is put expanding foam inside the computer, and then you would have to know to open it up and take it out, and that's not the experience we want to provide.
Was there a push pin? Oh, just pull?
Pulls. Yeah.
And then it clicks back in?
Yeah, you'll just, it's...
Well, let's do it.
Ooh,
Let's do it. We'll teach you how to do it.
Yay.
So this should just pivot into the bottom, and then that's it.
Oh, amazing. Oh man, now I'm gonna be doing this when I'm at home.
Well, the only other thing to show you.
Oh yeah, packet. These are the ones that
Oh,
I
yeah.
got.
Yeah, totally.
Everybody's computer gets a whole packet of what's in the workstation.
And you were talking about that with yours, right?
Yeah, it was such a personalized touch, and I'm like, oh, that's you, that's you.
Now you can put the names
so
to the faces.
Cool.
So part of what we provide is lifetime tech support with all the computers. And so whether they like something broke and we need to
Wait,
fix it.
lifetime tech support.
Yeah.
That's okay. You know how many times I've had to get other something care products and like I can't get any help after 2 years because it's expired.
If you're going to be editing 8K footage 5 years from now, you might need a different computer.
Yeah.
But however long that computer is useful to you, we want to make sure that it's still useful to you. So in this room, like if anything, stopped working, or if you wanted to upgrade something down the line, that's what would happen then in here. So, hello. So this room ends up being like our time capsule. That's pretty actually awesome to see in here. So this is a liquid cooled computer we built. Oh no, it's not even liquid cooled anymore. It used to be liquid cooled.
Yeah,
Okay.
it came in about a year ago and had the liquid cooling removed because it finally broke down and failed. We replaced the all-in-one as well.
So it's been in here a few times. But yeah, this up here originally was a radiator for it, but now it's been converted over the years to air cooling. So this thing must be like 8 years old. You got our new logo on it. How do we even do that?
So that's the new logo.
That's a new logo. Yes. Yes. It's very confusing.
We have found it. On behalf of the tech unboxing people, that is the most satisfying part of like unboxing anything is taking off
true.
that
That's true.
protective sheen. I must have done it a couple of times for the video I did for you all because I was really obsessed.
I haven't thought as much about that. But anyway, and then when you go through the story, you're right back where we started. So that's everything.
What do you foresee for Puget Systems in the next 5 years? Because I feel like with Moore's Law and everything, it's like as you are exponentially growing,
Sure.
where would you like to take Puget Systems?
Yeah, so we've been thinking quite a bit about that actually for a few years now. And like in the 5-year scope, it's probably a lot similar to what we're doing now. There's not a lot of change, like fundamental change into what a workstation will be. But you're spot on, like things are getting smaller and more things are getting like incorporated. And we're really passionate about if there's not some value we add to it, we have no business providing it. And so we're working to make sure that we can provide value to workflows that is an independent question to should we provide the hardware? Because frankly, like this whole philosophy we have applies just as well to an Apple computer or to different laptops that you may need, and we don't offer laptops. And so that's what the work we're doing with benchmarks creation and consulting and different ways that we can still help people, but not necessarily be a hardware manufacturer. So that's a little bit of a long term. We're going to be a hardware manufacturer for a long time, but we're growing that part of our business because we think we can help. So Nikki, this is Matt.
Hi, brother. I've seen a lot of the videos. I see that you benchmark and like test here.
Oh, yes.
So what do you have hooked up right here?
There's a lot of everything. Eventually, we kind of want to have every single CPU we sell is just here.
You must have a lot of aha moments in here. Do you have a lot of those?
Ah, crap.
Oh, gotcha.
It's usually things are broken.
Oh.
But then, well, yes, once they get them fixed, then yes, they're very much aha moments.
Oh my
but-
goodness. I have to ask, Matt, in your testing, do you get asked to like test video games and then do you get consumed in those video games? And I'm doing it for market research.
Not recently. I think the last time I had something like that was when VR was still very new. Because yes, I had to do a lot of research for VR. I had to take it home, take the headset homes, and
Yeah, play
spend
around
time
with it, spend a lot of time with
yeah, you
it.
have to understand it. So that's the last.
It's a
one
whole
that I had.
relationship, with the VR community.
Recently, though, I have been getting more and more sucked into just the content creation stuff, like Adobe Max, post-production world. I try to attend as many of those sessions as I can because that's the only way to stay up to it. Because we're not in Premiere Pro every day or After Effects. That's not what we do. So the only way we can really stay up to that is talking with our customers and going to sessions, going to events, and just talking to people and seeing what's going on.
How many employees do you have here now?
62, 63.
62.
Yeah.
It's still under 100, but you guys are definitely pumping out a lot of custom PCs in this time.
It was a big deal for us in the last year because the same way of we grow the business slowly, we grew our team slowly, and that allowed us to really get to know each other and foster a community here internally. And now we got two things that are challenging that. One is we added a bunch of people to the team in a short amount of time, but then also half of our company is remote. And so we've had to get a lot more deliberate, and we've had challenges, I'm sure a lot of companies have, is how do we get that same one team, one fight kind of mindset when we're growing the team so quickly and people are remote. But we're fighting that fight. We're figuring it out.
Yeah, and since it's so personal, because it's less than 100 employees, what is the first kind of attributes that you look for?
Good question. I like that because it's not tech knowledge, and it's not even what degree do you have or whatnot. It's do you align with the mission? And that's why it's so important that we articulate what even is the mission, not just as a way to make sure that we attract the right customers, but we attract the right employees. And so it's really satisfying. We have a lot of people. We had somebody that joined our team a few days ago, and he says yeah, I've been watching your careers page for 6 years, just waiting for my chance to join the team. That's cool. That's what I like to see. People that want to be a part of something that's bigger than just putting together computers and selling computers. Are we helping the communities out there? That's what I look for.
Well, apparently you're doing a great job because the employees here, every person I've talked to has had nothing but I've been here for over 10 years and I love it, you know? And
good.
Obviously the way that you're hiring and what you're looking for is doing something.
Well, and hopefully
correct?
the enthusiasm to help you comes through in that process as well. Because that's really what it's all about here. I'm just thankful that the world exists, that like we can be a successful company, that people can build a career. That it doesn't have to be a stepping stone or like someplace you work for 2 or 3 years. That like, okay, you can support a family, you can grow a family, you can build your life, you can build a retirement. I love being the kind of employer that can provide that, and I'm thankful that like the whole industry is vibrant enough that it can support that.
Well, thank you so much for your time today
Yeah.
and for having me
Yeah, of
here.
course,
This is
of
so
course.
cool. This is Puget Systems with founder and CEO Jon Bach. We'll be Bach. Okay, there you go. Do you get that a lot?
No.